We have some pretty big news and an update on the story that has literally been 5 years in the making. Remember Evgeni Dadonov? I guess I shouldn't say remember, he is still in the NHL, after all. Dadonov is a New Jersey Devil. Last year, he was a Dallas Star. He had 40 points, 20 goals, and 20 assists, but a few years prior to his time in New Jersey and Dallas, Evgeni Dadonov was an Ottawa Senator and a Vegas Golden Knight. It was around this time that we saw ourselves a big trade go down with the Ottawa Senators that resulted in a really big penalty. Let's go out there and revisit this. How the Ottawa Senators back in 2023 forfeited a draft pick over the invalidated Evgeni Dadonov trade. The Ottawa Senators will forfeit a first-round pick for their role in the July 2021 trade of Evgeni Dadonov to the Vegas Golden Knights, and the subsequently invalidated March 2022 trade that would have sent Dadonov from Las Vegas to the Ducks. Ottawa will forfeit its first-round draft pick in one of 2024, 2025, or the 2026 drafts. The Senators will make that announcement within 24 hours of the conclusion of the draft lottery that year. In March 2022, the Golden Knights traded Dadonov to the Ducks along with a conditional second-round pick for defenseman John Moore and the contract of Ryan Kesler. But hours after the trade was announced, Vegas said it had become aware of an issue with respect to the trade and was consulting with the league office about it. The issue surrounded Dadonov's limited no-trade clause on his contract, which he had signed in October 2020 with the Senators. The clause indicated that Dadonov couldn't be traded without first submitting a 10-team no-trade list. The Ducks were on a previously submitted no-trade list to Ottawa, but when the Golden Knights traded for Dadonov in 2021, there was no mention of the trade protection on the trade call with the Sens and the NHL. Therefore, it was not acknowledged when Vegas completed their second trade with Anaheim. So essentially, the Senators done goofed. They didn't provide the trade list to Vegas when they sent Dadonov over there in the first place, and there were complications that arose because of it when Vegas tried to trade Dadonov a year later. But now, we have ourselves some solace. The NHL has announced today, March 12, 2026, that it has modified the penalty to the Senators for their cancelled trade back in 2022. Take a look at the NHL's website and the NHL's PR team. Let's go out there and read. The National Hockey League announced today it has decided to modify the disciplinary sanction originally imposed on the Ottawa Senators for its role in connection with the July 2021 trade of player Evgeni Dadonov from the Senators to the Golden Knights, and the subsequent invalidated March 2022 trade between the Golden Knights and the Ducks involving Dadonov as well. The sanction originally imposed on the Senators provided for the forfeiture of the club's first-round draft pick in one of 2024, 2025, or 2026. The Senators subsequently applied to the league for reconsideration and relief from the original penalty, citing primarily the change in club ownership and oversight, which, in the club's view, changed the appropriateness of the penalty initially imposed. After due and thorough consideration, the league has decided that a modification of the original penalty is warranted, and accordingly has amended the club's sanction as follows. The Senators' penalty will now involve the forfeiture of their first-round pick in 2026 in favor of the right instead to pick 32nd overall in the 2026 NHL Draft. The club will not be permitted to trade or transfer its right to the 32nd overall selection in the 2026 draft. In addition, the Ottawa Senators will pay a fine of $1 million Canadian dollars. In order to accommodate this draft order modification, the club's normal draft position in the first round, whether determined by way of draft lottery or by the club's final standing, will be forfeited, and its position will be reassigned to the 32nd overall spot in the first round. All other clubs who would normally have been slotted behind the Senators in the first round will each be assigned draft selections which are one position better than where they would have otherwise selected. With regards to the draft lottery, in the event that the Senators do not qualify for the Stanley Cup Playoffs this year, the team will still be allocated the same lottery odds that they would have been normally assigned to the club based on and consistent with its regular season finish. But the club will not be eligible to win, quote-unquote, the draft lottery. In the event a number combination assigned to Ottawa is selected in either the first two lottery draws, it will result in a redraw. This ensures that the odds of all the other non-playoff clubs to win the lotteries are enhanced equally. The $1 million fine will be directed to the NHL Foundation Canada, a league-sponsored charitable organization whose mission is to strengthen communities and improve lives across Canada through the game of hockey, by, among other things, promoting access and fostering positive experiences both on and off the ice. The league intends to have no further comment on this matter. So there's a lot of business speak here. It's very diplomatic, but the way that it's being presented is pretty straightforward. Essentially, the Ottawa Senators are no longer forfeiting a first-round pick from either of these drafts. Instead, they're just going to be given the 32nd overall pick this year. That's it. And they're not allowed to trade it. They're not allowed to forfeit it. They're just going to have it and they're going to use it. They're also going to pay a fine of $1 million. Now, this is pretty interesting because 32nd overall for a team that technically isn't in the playoffs right now, it is quite the disaster scenario if Ottawa can finally somehow get themselves a way to win the draft lottery. If they do that, which they would have a chance at doing so if you take a look at tankathon.com, right now the Ottawa Senators, they are in the I guess they're in the 32nd overall spot. But if you go over to the NHL League standings here, and you sort by reverse points, the Ottawa Senators are 14th overall in the National Hockey League. This means that they do have a chance to win a lottery and jump up 10 spots to 4th overall, or 5th overall. There's a chance that that happens, but if it does, there's just going to be a redraft. They're going to say, sorry, Ottawa won, let's do it again. And Ottawa automatically gets the 32nd overall pick because of their failure to provide Vegas with the proper Dadonov trade protection details all the way back in 2021. Also, it's quite hilarious in my mind that Dadonov was so against the idea of going to Anaheim that when this entire thing went down, he was like, hey, wait a minute, I can't go there. I don't want to go there. And then the Golden Knights were like, wait a minute, we wanted to get Ryan Kesler. We wanted to get this contract. Yeah, Ryan Kessler's going through his own legal troubles right now because, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But ultimately, this was a pretty big deal all the way back in 2021 and in 2022. So to see it all come to this, oh yeah, actually, sorry, there's no actual penalty here. You're not going to forfeit a pick. We're just going to move it to 32nd overall. It does feel kind of like a cop-out, but still, I think this is a pretty reasonable way to fix things up. Although, as a Canucks fan who has been ticked off at the NHL for the Roberto Luongo recapture penalty all these years, it does kind of pain me to see other NHL teams be given the pass, even though my Vancouver Canucks were struggling and suffering for years as a result of that Luongo thing. But with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Evgeni Dadonov trade coming full circle and the Ottawa Senators getting their first-round pick back, albeit it's 32nd overall. What are your thoughts on the trade situation from 4 or 5 years ago? How do you feel about Dadonov and his play now if you're a New Jersey Devils fan? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.